Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Emily, but you can call me Ems. It's actually been quite a while since I've been on, especially since I started my yarn podcast. That's been kind of keeping me going and enjoying spending time with you guys and making videos and even editing a little bit, doing some editing here and there. However, if you can't tell from the way I sound, I've been very sick the last 2 weeks. I came down with COVID. I was mostly sick this past weekend, the weekend of Halloween, which was very sad. It's my favorite day of the year. So that kind of was a bummer that I couldn't even, I'm the pop house, right? So I had 2 flats of 32 pop. So now I've got plenty of pop for myself and my partner. Crack open a Diet Coke. Because I had gotten an entire flat of Diet Coke so that if there's any kids with diabetes or anything that need no sugar, I'd have that. And then I had a flat of it's the Orange Crush, the grape soda, the grape pop, the grape crush, the cream soda crush, and the mug root beer, all of those together. And now I just have a questionable amount of pop for myself and my partner. But we are pop drinkers, so it's not like it's going to go to waste. We are going to drink it. It's just I was not planning on having 64 cans of pop in my house just for us. But what are you going to do when you live in a shoe? Thankfully, I'm significantly better. I'm still testing positive, but I'm in the stage now where I can kind of, because I've been so far enough removed from my fever and my symptoms that I can go out with a mask and distancing. So that's been a great time because this week was supposed to be my vacation, and it is technically still my vacation, but I was sick for most of it. Out of it sick on the weekend of the Halloween too. So I'm happy I'm feeling better. So this is a result of, I have asthma and chronic bronchitis. And if you don't know that COVID is a respiratory illness, well, you know what it's going to be doing to that. So fun. And my throat hurts from all the coughing and stuff, but I'm actually feeling so much better. I feel basically normal, except for more respiratory problems than the usual. But thankfully not enough that I need to be hospitalized. So that's nice. But basically I've been sick, but yesterday I was able to get out of the house, and I'm very excited to show you where I went and what I did. I'm not going to show you because I didn't film, but I have a haul that's for my acquisitions, and I'm very excited, getting all excited. Ho, ho, ho. So, my goodness gracious. So let's jump right into it. First of all, finished objects. Not a dang thing. Not a dang thing has been finished this last month. My last video I think was how to wind yarn without a yarn swift. And I have finished nothing since then because I've been working on some things that you'll see in a mo. So no finished objects. The last thing I did finish was the pair of fingerless mitts. And yeah, the pair of fingerless mitts that you saw in the last episode of the Yarn podcast. But my UFOs are my works in progress, my whips. I am doing 2 stitch along, knit along thingies, and both of them mysteries. And I'm doing 1 gift knit. So let's start with the gift knit to show you what I'm working on. So Megan, skip 2 minutes. You're not allowed to watch unless you want to be spoiled, which I don't care if you want to be spoiled. Go for it. I'm working on the Gillis shawl, and I'm literally halfway through a row. I'm sorry, this is the back. But I'm working on the West Knits Gillis shawl, which is one that I've been wanting to knit. Not for myself, because I was I love the way this looks. I want to knit it, but I don't think I'd want it for myself. So I'm approaching the end game, because the bottom, so it's these like beautiful like striped lace details, like these yarn overs in these nice lines with these garter ridges. But then the bottom is going to have these diamonds of lace detail. So we are in that portion now of getting the diamonds put in at the bottom. So I'm very, very close to finishing. So maybe I'll put my West Knits knit along aside and work on this today. We'll see what I work on today, because here's the thing. I have to film this pretty quickly because Irina from Fiber Chats and Martin from Knit 365 blog are going live with Linda, the test knit coordinator, and Mr. West Knits himself, Stephen West, to talk everything about the MCAL and a wrap up with that. So that's going live in like an hour from when I'm filming this. So I need to watch that. By the time you guys see this, it'll probably be ready for a playback on Martin's channel. So head on over to the Knit 365 podcast for that. The next thing is the Stitch Along, which is a cross stitch along, mystery stitch along, done by Stitch. They do kind of funny subversive cross stitch. So I have finished week 1, which says Tits Ta. So the week 3 pattern is already out. So I'm actually behind by quite a bit because for week 2 and 3, I've been very sick. So I got week 1 done. Thankfully, each week is only about 200 stitches. So I think I'm going to be able to catch up pretty easily. I just need to take the time to do that. So this is the Stitch Along. It is free. It's still ongoing if you want to do it. I'll put some links in the description box below. You're a bit behind, but not more behind than I am really, because I've only finished 1 week's stitching. Basically, the 7th week is when it's going to get crazy with all the finishes, because there's many different ways you can finish it. So everyone's will look a little bit different. So Tits Ta. So that's my first stitch along. And of course, as I've already alluded to, the Twists and Turns mystery knit along from West Knits. Spoiler alert, I know that the knit along is technically over and I don't have to give you these spoiler alerts anymore, but I know there are some people who do want to, keep spoiler free. So I'm about to show you where I'm at. This is only spoiling up to week 2 because I am, again, behind. This is where I am at so far. So I finished week 1 with this middle portion here. I've put big stitch markers through the bottom loops so that they don't come undone, because the stitch markers are just big enough that they won't pull through. So I'm on this side. I've got one more accent color stripe of this. This is Yarn Indulgence's Rhonda, this one, in their BFL sock. So I've got one more stripe of that to do, and then one more short row wedge. This is being held on an extra cable needle, which I've just kind of tied and looped together so it's not in the way. So that is where I'm at. So I'm on section 2 of week 2, so section 3 technically total. But then I'll be adding some cables down at the bottom. So we're going to have some cables coming out the bottom of these wings soon. So I'm hoping to finish this wedge today and then get to the cabling, which I'm excited about. So that's what we have so far. Loving the orange and the blue because they're complementary colors, so they pop really well against each other. So I'm excited about this. It's starting to get a nice curve at the top. So that is all of my works in progress. Something I actually did the week before I got sick was I did a full KonMari of my closet, and I actually found my old knitting caddy. This is from 31, which I actually had customized to say, I like big balls, and I cannot lie, because it's for knitting and crochet. So this has been really nice to carry around for this project. So I've got some yarn in here, and then I've got my Notion pouch. I've got my black skeins that I didn't ball. I didn't cake these, so I'm doing center pull and just having them held in the elastic here, which has been great to keep them all in place. So that has been really great. It's been holding my project and it's been absolutely perfect. So that's been really nice to get that back and use it again. So let's get into acquisitions, the most exciting part of this video. So I'm actually going to make you hold off a little bit longer for the part that I'm the most excited about, because I went to Fabricville today because I had some money set aside for yarn, but then my mom ended up buying me the yarn I needed yesterday. Getting to that in a bit. And the money I had set aside, I realized I could afford that Yarn Swift I've been avoiding buying. So I finally bought my Yarn Swift. This is something I have needed for way too long. I mean, you saw my video on how to cake yarn without a Yarn Swift, and yes, it is very possible, but it is a struggle and a half sometimes, and it can be like a full contact sport. So I'm just very, very excited to have a Yarn Swift now. Like a proper Yarn Swift that's for some reason just like trussed up here like it's a bag of oranges in this orange netting. So I'm excited to set that up. It is made all of wood with metal things like metal hardware, but the thing itself is fully made of wood. It's one that you screw a screw in there and then this kind of bites onto your table so that it stays on a table. And then the edges here, the like umbrella portion, the actual umbrella portion is all wood, but then it's held together with string. So if this like heavy string ever breaks, I can always tie it back together to fix it, which is great. And this is from the Knit Picks brand because I am a fan of Knit Picks and all of their products, like their needles and cables and all that fun stuff. I know a lot of people don't like Knit Picks needles and cables, but I actually really like them. So speaking of Knit Picks needles and cables, I got 2 new sets of interchangeable needle tips. I got a US 4 or 3.5 millimeter metal ones that I needed. And they did not have a US 6 4 millimeter at all in the metal, so I had to get them in the wooden. The wooden aren't my preference because they do dent, but the great thing about wooden needle tips, if they do dent, you can always sand the tips back down. Like the pointy, the tapered pointy end, you can always sand that down to make them pointy and dent free again. So it's actually not that big of a problem. I just prefer the metal because I like how it slides too. So I got those. And then I got another 24-inch cable because I've realized in doing the West Knits MCAL, I don't have a lot of shorter size cables. I only have the one 24-inch one, so I've had to use the 47-inch cable to hold that other one, which is why it's all that other side of the live stitches, which is why it's like all coiled in together. So another 24-inch cable to have, especially since they're only $3.79 for a cable. So good to go. And last but most certainly not least, another thing I've been avoiding buying is sock blockers. So this is actually the size medium, which is for men's 6 to 7.5 and women's 7 to 7.5 to 9. I'm actually a women's 12, but here's the thing. I like my socks to be tight on my feet. So when I block my socks, I don't want to block them too stretched out. So that's why I'm going to block my socks on the size medium, which is a size smaller than I'm technically supposed to. But also, this is the size that I need to block for my mom's socks. And she likes hers stretched out a little bit. So this will go really great because my mom's a 7.5 to 8 shoe, I think, or 8 to 8.5, one of those. So got a pair of the sock blockers and they came in pink, so I got the pink ones because they're cute. The options were like dark emerald green, yellow, and pink. So I got pink because I thought that was cutest. So the other thing that I'm very, very excited about. So the one thing I wanted to do this year on my vacation was get to the Briggs and Little store, or the Briggs, it's actually the wool mill. It's the actual wool mill, but they also have an outlet store there for Briggs and Little wool and yarn. And my summer break, I wasn't able to get there. And then this vacation, I was freaking sick. So when we found out that I can go out with a mask, now that I'm well enough, I can go out with a mask and distance and all that fun stuff, I was spirited away by my mother yesterday to Harvey, New Brunswick, which is 20 minutes outside of Fredericton. It's a small town. Not even a town. It's like a village. And we love going to Harvey because they've got 2 really cute craft shops, which actually I got a couple things at those craft shops, so I'll show you those too. But we went to Briggs and Little, and Mom got me lots of swag and yarn. Well, lots of swag for sure that I did not plan on buying. The yarn was the amount that I had planned on buying, but then she was like, I'm buying it for you for your birthday, because my birthday is November 18th, so yay! So first we got, of course, the tote bag. We love a good tote bag. I like that the arms are shorter, which makes it a really good project bag, I think, versus like a big tote bag arms. So love it. Which this is also made from the Atlantic Bag Manufacturers, which is in Halifax, Nova Scotia, which is really cool that they're using like Canada local even bag manufacturers for their bags. So the bag was $14, which not bad for especially a locally made bag. But let's get into what you want to see. Let's look at the yarn. Or first, we bought a pattern that Mom wants me to make her. So it's the Geometric Rag Cardigan, which is like a color work geometric cardigan, kind of a 90s vibe to it. This is, it's designed by Cindy Nichols. So Mom's very excited. So it looks like there's 2 main colors and 3 contrast colors. And it's awesome. It uses their heathered colors for the main colors. So she's really excited about this because Mom really likes the fit. It's kind of a slimmer but straight cut. So Mom's really excited for me to make that for her at some point. We didn't get the yarn for this. This is just the pattern for me to be mindful that this is something that she wants me to make her. So I just have to read the pattern and see what it says. And it looks pretty simple. It's kind of just like, do this simple thing and then repeat for this amount of time kind of thing. So that's exciting. So the yarn I got is to make the Montmartre sweater from Fable Knitwear, which I was able to get the pattern for free because I am one of the larger sizes that she was not able to get pattern tested. So I got their sport yarn. So the first color I got is this. You can see in the natural light over here and the shade over here. This is their brown heather color. In the colors, you can see yellow and red and blue fibers kind of going through it as well to make this beautiful heathered color. So their sport yarn is very much like it's thinner than the Patton's Croy sock. As you can see, this is the Patton's Croy sock and this is theirs. But it's, I think, a bit thicker than, yeah, it's a little bit thicker than the Yarn Indulgence's fingering weight. So I would say that this is like a sport weight and a fingering weight had a baby, like a 1, super fine. Kind of like the super fine and the 1 and the 2 weight had a baby. So I think that you could easily do this for your fingering weight projects and just go down a needle size or stick to your sport weight projects with these. So I'm excited for that. So this is going to be the main color, but then the Montmartre sweater has stripes. But instead of having a stripe of having only one secondary color, I'm going to do 3 color stripes. So with the main color, I got rust, as you can see between the 2 colors. Yes, this one is called rust. And look at that. This one is called gold, which I was calling it kind of a marigold color, but it is a golden yellow. You can see in the natural light here or in the shade. Beautiful. But then these together, and imagine it's striped, and the Montmartre sweater is basically like a Victorian cycling sweater. So I'm like, Dee. So I'd say this is their sport one, which again, yeah, it's very much like a fingering weight. It is a 1 ply, so kind of just like that one, not a roving because it is like twisted, but it's just the 1 ply. 100% wool. It's 4 ounces or 113 grams, which has 430 yards or 393 meters. And it's 24 stitches is 4 inches approximately on 3mm needles. So is what they say. I'll have to test out my own tension on this. But yeah, so hand wash, all that fun stuff, because it is 100% wool. It feels a bit more rustic than a lot of like hand dyed yarns I've used before, but it's not scratchy. It's rustic, that's for sure. It's a little more scratchy on my face, but like it doesn't feel scratchy in my hands. It's not hooky. It's not sticking to my fingers or anything. So I don't know if this would be for everybody, but it is a lovely, lovely yarn. And then the last skein of yarn I got is their heritage yarn in black. This is just for some color work hat, the color work hat I want to do, which I already have their heritage yarn for, but in a fun color that was hand dyed by a local person. So I got this in black. The heritage yarn is 2 ply, 100% pure wool, 113 grams, which is 215 yards or 196 meters, which is 4 inches for 17 stitches. So this is basically it's their worsted weight yarn. So this is great to just have on hand. And then we get to the swag portion of today's video. So besides the tote, my mom got me a mug, Briggs & Little. The mug was only $6. $6 for a mug. That's not bad. We got a free bookmark on why wool matters. Just a little bookmark of a little sheep, which is cute. I like bookmarks. And then I got a badge pin or a button pin. Here we go, Briggs & Little. And 5 tags to sew into my finished projects. Because it just says, made with Briggs & Little yarn, Canada's oldest woolen mill, established 1857. So I got 5 of these for $1 for the tags. How great is that? I don't know how much the button was. I think it was $1. So, and then mom got a bag as well. Crazy. So this was really exciting. The heritage and the sport yarns were $6.50 each. Usually they're $7 to $8 when I buy them at local yarn stores, because obviously they get them at the, excuse me, sir, Vecna, no, thank you. Local yarn stores, they would get them at the wholesale price, and then they would sell them at a markup for themselves. Because the thing is, to get to the actual Briggs & Little store, it's only open until 5 p.m. And it's only Monday to Friday. And I work till 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. But it's like a 20-minute drive there. So like, it's not like I can just go there on my lunch break kind of vibe. It's like, I have to have a whole day off to go here. So that is what I got on my trip to Briggs & Little, which I'm very excited about. I'm literally going to be caking up these yarns today because I think that my sweater would be a nice palette cleanser project between working on this shawl. So definitely going to cake those up. And then the two craft shops that we went to in Harvey, one of them is called Cubbyhole, and I forgot what the other one's called, is the problem. So the first thing I got is from the other one that is not Cubbyhole. I got this Progress Keeper from Cobbit. So it is a clay Progress Keeper that is a little mushroom. How cute is that? For $4. She also does zipper pulls, which I think are on bigger lobster clasps. So now that I've shown you, I can take it off its little tag and put it in my stitch marker box, which I use this like mint tin. This like tin that I got from Mints. Put it in there where I have my stitch markers, my Progress Keepers. Another fun one I have is a gumball machine. And like the little gumballs or confetti that shake around in there. I always love fun stitch markers and Progress Keepers. And then at the other craft store, we got, dun, 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 looks like a little kind of wallet thing, which it could very well be, but it is a portable tea sachet carrier where you can put your own little sachets of tea and take them out with you. And it came with 4 little tea sachets too. Came with mint Tazo tea, Earl Grey from Twinings, vanilla Earl Grey from Twinings, and Irish breakfast tea. I think that you could fit credit cards in there too, like little cards. You could use this as a little wallet, but it's got little printed teacups on it, and it's got tea inside. And how cute is that? And I can stick that right in my purse. And then when I go to someone's house, I can be like, and I just have some hot water. I brought my own tea. Fun, fun. Ugh. Gotta uncover my notebook here because I wrote down exactly what I want to talk to you guys about. All right, so for media, I'm trying to keep it a little bit less chaotic this time. I've chosen one piece of media to recommend to you, and that is Queer for Fear from Shudder. Queer for Fear is a 4-part documentary series about LGBT plus people and themes in horror films throughout time. Whether it be that the actors were queer, whether it be that the characters were queer coded, how LGBT and queer people have been able to tell our stories through the medium of monster films and other horror movies by coding it as a scary thing, which is, kind of how it had to be for a long time. But it was really nice seeing like lots of, like there's horror film historians in there. There was like Ben de la Creme, hello, from her Drag Race. Great drag queen. Like there was another drag queen who I forget who it was. I'm very sorry. But when I saw Ben de la Creme, I went, that's Ben de la Creme. And there was like a bunch of queer people from horror films. There was Elvira. Literally the whole time watching it, every person that came on the screen, I was like, they're attractive and great. And I just went, and I'm just like, just further confirmation of how freaking queer I am. But that was such a fun docuseries to watch. So that's a 4-parter. Me and my partner were very sad that it was only 4 parts. We thought it was going to be longer. So we were excited to like sit down and watch it on the Friday it was supposed to release. And we realized, there's no more because there's only 4 parts. But it'd be worth rewatching. So that's my media recommendation for y'all. If you got Shudder, check out Queer for Fear. I know a lot of people have Shudder exclusively for watching Dragula. So if you're that person, you'll love Queer for Fear, for sure. And finally, the shout out highlight I'd like to do is once again to Irina of Fiber Chats, who has been doing a great series that I was on, The Humans of West Knits. I thought that was like just a very unique little series to talk to people who do mystery knit-alongs, and specifically the West Knits mystery knit-along, because there seems to be, it's a very specific kind of crowd, I guess, but it's really fun to watch because, like, literally there's someone who like started knitting in July, learned to knit in July, and is doing the knit-along, and I'm like, okay. I thought I was pretty new, having like relearned how to knit from like in 2020. Like, I thought that was wild that I had relearned how to knit in 2020 and that now I'm doing these knit-alongs. But nope, someone learned literally in July of 2022, and in October of 2022 was like, yeah, sure, let's do that. Wild. But it's been really fun to watch because beforehand we did a lot of anticipatory interviews, and then going along, she did interviews of people reviewing or discussing each clue as it came out. So there's a video for clue 1, clue 2, clue 3, clue 4. So it's really fun watching that, and I'm actually still catching up. I'm on episode, the third one for the third clue. So then I've got one more left to go after that. But it's actually been really fun to watch, and I think Irina did something very unique and very fun, and I think it has some rewatchability as well. So go check those out if you've not watched it. Even if you aren't participating in the Mystery Knit Along, it's still really interesting to see different knitters and like what we think of this mystery fun time. But that is it from me. My throat is starting to hurt really bad, and my voice is starting to go a little bit. So I'll wish you guys a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week. Goodbye. Whoosh.